Okay, there's our theme music. It is time for the second episode of T Squared here on BBZ Radio. This is a place where you have two Toms talking about stuff.
Well put, my friend.
My name is Tom Deau. I'll be your host over here at the controls. And over on the other side there is Tom Atkins. Say hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
And how are you doing today, Tom?
Not bad for, I'm the late night guy, T, and I just, got my coffee, have coffee, we'll travel, and we'll try to talk.
Well, I think this will go well. I was up late last night as far as with the weather and stuff like that at my house trying to take care of things there, and my daughter was going home. It was her birthday yesterday, in fact, and she was going home, so I was worried about her on the road. So,
oh, sure, yeah. I'm up late every night worrying about weather.
How difficult can that be at times as far as getting that forecast accurate?
In winter, of course, when you get a snowstorm or anything that's going to affect travel, or maybe it's just a cold wave that's going to affect people going out and about. And in summer, of course, it's severe weather, thunderstorms that can produce damaging winds, hail or tornadoes. So the summer is much more immediate because once something happens, you have to be there and you have to know what's happening, communicate it, tell people where it's going, how it could affect their life or property. In winter, things are much, there's more of a slow crescendo in getting the information out because you know more ahead of time. It's not going to be, bang, bang. So you have time to prepare. You have time to refine your forecast. You just want to make sure it's accurate. And this is a perfect example. Southern half of the county, anything south of 90, where you reside a lot and where I work a lot at WJET-TV, Fox 66, Erie.com, is in the snow belt. The snow belt has a winter storm warning right now. So Erie, like it has been many times already this quote-unquote winter, not getting a whole lot. But the areas south of 90 are getting the snow and having the worst weather. So that's the focus right now.
Last night I went home from here on campus and, pardon me, we had it rained and like snow up here. It rained all day yesterday.
Yeah, north of 90, didn't have an advisory, didn't have a warning. It was basically wet. We got above freezing. It was slush, no big deal. Yeah,
but then last night then when I got home, we had probably a good, I'd say 4 inches, maybe even more of a heavy, wet snow.
Yeah, the cement snow, as we like to call it, because it's hard to remove. And it's slippery to drive on. So that's the perfect example, Tom, of why they have two different forecast zones in Erie County. The lakeshore north of 90, which is typically warmer in these situations, and the inland snowbelt south of 90, where, yes, even during the day, you guys picked up 4 to 5 inches. The airport had a trace.
Yeah.
And then when the cold air came back in at night, Erie started getting a little bit of snow, and you guys probably added another 3 to 4.
It was last night. The slush was terrible yesterday. As far as when I got home, very heavy. Thank goodness I've got a tractor and I can push it back.
Yeah.
But it was. I'd say probably yesterday I had about, like I said, about 4 inches. 4 inches. That was really, really sloppy
during the day.
Yes, and I'm glad I got it off of there because while we were celebrating my daughter's birthday, we looked outside, and it was just snowing coming down like you wouldn't believe.
And the temperature was dropping, so everything was freezing underneath.
Absolutely. So I got everything pushed out, which was great.
Right.
And then I woke up this morning, and I looked outside, and we had 6 inches.
Right.
So if I wouldn't have plowed out that stuff before, all that stuff could have froze below it, and that would have been a pain in the butt and heavy as all get out to actually get out of my driveway. But this morning, got up and plowed everything out, and I made it with no problem today.
Right, and that's a typical winter story around here. So that's the thing we do. We got to make sure we're preparing, not scaring. We're not here to scare you into watching or listening to us. We want to just look at the situation, get the best data, pass it along. It's December. It's Northwest PA. We deal with this so many times, and so we just want to advise people of where it's bad, where it's not. You know how to handle it. Use common sense, and we'll keep you informed.
Now, I know you weren't in there yet this morning,
Right.
So you really don't. I'm sure you can't see all your computers and your different monitors, I guess, up there. Do you have any idea what's going to happen for the rest of today?
Well, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be the same scenario. Very little along the lakeshore. Now it'll be colder today, so anything that does fall will stick or, get icy, if you will, if it's on an untreated surface. But the lion's share of the snow will be south of 90. And not for everyone, because this stuff works in bands. As you well know, you get under a band, you get dumped on, you can drive or be out of the band and not get a whole lot. But the warning remains for Erie County south of 90 for additional snow. And, it might be 2, 3, 4 inches. It's not going to be anything you haven't seen before. It's just that that's where the lion's share of it will fall.
Why do they call it a warning if we're only going to get like maybe 2, possibly 4 inches? Why is that a warning?
Well, it's accumulated over time. They issued the warning, I think it was yesterday morning, and it continues through 4 a.m., I believe, this coming Friday morning. So when you add it all together, and they have criteria, how many inches of snow in this period of time. So they expect more than 8 inches over a however many hour period, then it classifies as a warning. If it's less, it's an advisory. But the good thing, where the lion's share of the population is, the north of 90 corridor, including Erie, where we are now in Behrend, out to the West County, Girard, Fairview, West Springfield, and up to Northeast, north of 90, doesn't have anything, doesn't even have an advisory. So it's business as usual for there. But the Weather Service, who issues the warnings, the advisories, have criteria for what has to happen to kick in one of those alerts.
When I was coming into work today, I drove my wife into work today, and I was coming down Route 8. It was pretty slick.
Right.
A couple times there, it was funny because when we got north of 90, the roads got icy. There were more so like snow out our way, and it wasn't too bad. We were going along at a pretty good clip, like 40 miles an hour, which isn't bad.
Right.
And then once we hit 90, right there by the Wendy's there, I got the red light.
Right.
And I stopped there. It's a little bit of an incline. I started going, and then I couldn't get going right away because I was on some ice
slippery.
there.
Yeah.
I got up over the hill, started coming over the hill, and then I had to hit my brakes because people in front of me were slowing down. I started sliding a bit. I looked in my rearview mirror. People were coming up behind me real fast.
Oh, boy.
People were actually, because it was dark out, I saw people going on the opposite side of the road because they were sliding into people in front of them. And it was bad all the way up until we hit from 90 till like 38th Street.
Right.
That's that section
I know that
there.
corridor very well.
You're coming downhill the whole way.
Yeah, that's hilly, and, who knows? The temperature obviously is below freezing. Whatever treatment on the roads, may need it more. And you always have to be careful because this area is full of elevation. And turns and things like that you can slide on.
Yep. You just got to be careful.
Yeah, you got to go slow, use your common sense, and keep the distance, hopefully, between the vehicles surrounding you.
All right. Well, we got the weather out of the way for right now, at least, which is
there's
good.
another storm coming this weekend, just so you know.
Oh, great. Good times, good times. But, okay, what we did last time was we started off this podcast a couple weeks back, and we had a bunch of questions. And what we're doing is we're just basically going through the questions and just getting to know each other more, or letting, I guess, our listeners know more about us. We've known each other for how long again would it be?
Oh, man, I lose track of time. I mean, you've been doing live shots for me at JET since, I don't know, 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, as far as that goes, absolutely. But now we worked, I think, at competing stations for a while.
I didn't even know you were there.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tom. You know what? And on that note, what's your name again?
Yeah, I don't follow. I have too much to do where we are and where we live.
Yeah, but we've been in media for quite a long time, so we talked a little bit about that. But I got a whole list of questions here, so let's go through these questions. And I think I left off. Let me get my spectacles here. All right, so Tom, as a teenager, how did you spend your free time?
I was a weather geek when I was a teenager. Back in the old days when the Earth's crust was cooling, when I was a teenager, there was an ability. We had TV, we had radio, but you could pay a fee to get weekly weather maps from the National Weather Service in Washington, D.C. So each week in the mailbox, a week's worth of daily weather maps, 7 days worth, would come. And I thought that was the coolest thing because I was always looking, at what the meteorologists or the weather people were saying on TV and radio. We did not have, obviously, the internet. We didn't have all these sources. But when I got that, I could look at those things and read about them and learn and try to become educated in, potentially being a meteorologist. So that's, in teenage. And, I got that job or I got that apprenticeship at National Weather Corporation in Newark, New Jersey's Newark Airport, which is now Liberty Airport. So as 15 or 16 or 17, I was working with meteorologists. So I was a weather geek from the beginning. And, I was just in, like a kid in a candy shop because that's what I wanted to do.
That's awesome. So the next question I had here was basically, what dreams or goals did you have growing up? And I'm going to say basically, it seems as though you hit it right off the bat and you found what you wanted to do early on. Is this correct?
That's right, because it was the story, and I don't know if we shared it on the first podcast, but, when my mom worked at a printing shop and a guy came in to get business cards, and he was from this company at Newark Airport, and my mom mentioned my son wants to be a meteorologist, and he said, well, yeah, I'll take him to work with me. And that was in high school. So teachers used to ask me when there was a storm in the forecast, well, how bad do you think it's going to be?
Jeez.
You think they're going to close school? Just like they do today.
Right.
And the kids, too. So I was, groomed for this since a very early age. And I do remember the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which, we all hear about it from the Gordon Lightfoot song 50 years ago, last month, 50th anniversary of that. So things like that stand out in my memory.
I was just a kid when that happened, and I remember all about that. And I remember that my music teacher back in elementary school played that song.
Played the song.
Oh, yeah.
And I played it for my kids here at Behrend in my class that I teach.
Just recently?
Just last week.
Okay.
And my main evening anchor, Sean Lafferty, who has done research and stories over the years, he did a nice piece on it, and he found people from Ashtabula that had a relative that perished in that thing. So it was like a 50th anniversary look back. Very interesting if you like local history or weather history or Gordon Lightfoot songs,
Absolutely. That was I guess that was the Great Lakes were all, as they say, were mean that
and they were in the biggest lake, Lake Superior. And
right.
They call it a freshwater hurricane because the winds hit hurricane strength, but you weren't over salt water like you do with, typical hurricanes. But it was pretty bad and ugly.
How often does something like that happen? As far as on the Great Lakes,
I saw another one like in '97 that was very similar. So maybe once every 25 years, something like that. That's just a guess off the top of my head.
What about was it last weekend or no? I think it was the weekend of Thanksgiving. That period, I have never seen the lake as bad as it was. I went up to Freeport with my wife.
That's right. I saw your video. Yeah. Jen Mobilia, my female evening anchor, said, here, Tom sent us this stuff. Take a look at it.
Yeah, and I would have to say that was probably about the worst that I personally have ever seen it. I mean, the waves that were coming off the lake and out in the lake, I mean, there were white caps for miles. You could see these things, and it was pretty violent out there.
Yeah, and Erie, Lake Erie, if you ever been there, when they forecasted, 14 to 18-foot waves, that can happen,
Yeah, when they were hitting up against the rock wall, and they were just exploding, and I was like, "Holy smokes!" But
right.
That was quite
dramatic,
quite impressive. So when we first started this podcast, we talked more about our early life, our family life, our education, and stuff like that. So let's switch a little bit to our career work. Okay, so again, we may have touched on this briefly last time. So maybe if we did, please don't spend as much time on it. But what was your first job?
A janitor for my town's library.
How old were you?
Gosh, I was probably 14 or 15.
14. Now, were you able to actually work at those times, or
Yeah.
how'd that work?
Yeah, it was a job, and it was probably like 10 hours a week or something. But yeah, they paid us, and it was great. It was a good experience.
How long did that job last?
I would say a couple years until I got more into weather, but it was great. I loved it. I mean, you got money for doing something.
Well, a couple of years at 14 years old, that's a long time.
Right. And, to get a paycheck, to understand that that's going to be your life, it was good training.
My first job, I think, was when I was a kid living back in Richfield. I put out a flyer, handed it out to all of my neighbors, and said, "I will do work for you," and whatever.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So I did that, and I got some people who actually hired me, which was nice. And I was saving my money up at the time for a moped, because back in Ohio, when you were 14, you can get your little license, and you could actually legally ride those things on the road. So that's what I did for my very first job. But my first paying job, as far as regular paycheck, didn't happen until I came here. I moved out to New York, and I worked up at Peak and Peak.
Okay.
So I was the guy back in the day that would actually help you put your pass, your sticker, on your jacket. You take that piece of wire, make it go through your zipper. Once that was on, you'd peel off the sticker, and then you'd get to put it in half and then stick it to itself, and that would be your pass on your jacket. So that was my job, was actually helping people put those on their jackets. I'm sure that doesn't even exist anymore, but that was my first job. And then after that, when I moved back to Pennsylvania here, I worked at a gas station on 38th and Pine.
Oh, wow.
There was a mobile station.
There was, huh?
Yeah, there was a mobile station there, and I worked there for many years through high school.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picturing that because I'm at the CVS at 38th and Pine at all hours of the night, because it's the only 24-hour just about anything in Erie, let alone giving you, a pharmacy.
Yeah, where that sits, that's where the mobile station used to be.
Okay, that's great.
There used to be a mobile station there. Right next to us was a bank, Marine Bank, and right behind us was a Pano's restaurant.
Oh,
Pano's
yeah.
restaurant
I
used to be
remember
there.
that one. That was a nice little restaurant.
Yeah, it was nice to get a nice little meal.
Yeah.
The guy was super nice, and the prices were good.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
So-
that local stuff, we miss it so much.
Absolutely.
Because the individual family-owned, non-chain things like that Panos, thank God they still have one on the west side,
Yep.
but the Nunzies and the Carmens and Chuck and Ginny's, these kind of places that aren't in existence anymore were special.
Well, back in the day, that whole intersection was different.
There was the Paul Bunyan,
The Paul Bunyan was across the street,
right?
and then right next to Paul Bunyan was the Colonial Bakery.
Bakery,
And Patty's Pizza used to be over there.
right,
And Behrend's Pharmacy.
right. I
was there-
remember
was
the
there
pharmacy.
also.
Yeah, all kinds of good businesses
Yeah.
right around that area.
Yep. Across
Not
the
that Arby's or CVS is
Oh, right.
we need those too. But
Right.
back in the day, I remember I did a series this time of year. I did the 12 Days of Christmas, and I went around to find each of the items. Okay.
Okay.
So what was it? Maybe I don't know if there's a jeweler's there, but I went there for the 5 golden rings.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And-
was. I believe the Jewelers was right up the road from there.
Okay.
They just went out of business.
okay.
I forget the name.
Oh, yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah, and I can't remember the name either. Break Iron.
Yes.
Break Iron.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that
Right.
for that series, which is a great series for this time of year for any reporter, we found, the prices for each item, and then we added them up. This is what the 12 Days of Christmas will cost you this year.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
That's a good. Are you guys going to do it again this year? Or?
I would love to. Now that we're probably getting close to that window, right? We're at the 11th. We're almost there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Tomorrow
absolutely.
we'll be in the window.
Right. Right. But going back to that corner across the street, well, there's a bar now, but across the street there was a Sunoco gas station.
Okay.
Across the street from us, where the Quarterstone Bar is.
All right.
That was a Sunoco station, and then where the on the other side, on the west side of that corner, where there's the Arby's now, used to be a place called, I think it was called Shenanigans. It was a bar.
Okay.
It was a bar way back when, and my boss used to call it a saloon.
Yes.
He'd say, "Oh, look at all those crazy people over there at the saloon," and I was just a kid, so I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool, whatever."
Yeah.
But it's completely changed now. So it's just crazy how things change. I sound like one of those guys.
We sound old.
Oh, I know. I know. I remember that's my grandpa used to be that way, or just have different
Back
stories
in my
to tell.
day, yeah.
Oh, back in my day, exactly. So let's go with another question here. Let's see. So, what were some major turning points in your professional life?
Oh, coming to Erie, because I went to college in Iowa, and I got my first job out there at WHO-TV and radio. Now, that's one of the few stations west of the Mississippi that start with a W. Okay.
Yeah, yep.
And long tradition there. It was an NBC operation. Former President Ronald Reagan did radio at WHO in Des Moines, Iowa, back in the day. And so I fell into that. So that was a huge thing because I always wanted to do TV. And then finding the job here and coming to Erie, which I've been, here for over 35 years. That was huge.
So if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you first got here? When you left there to come here, how old were you?
26.
26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. It was as far as what are some of the most challenging periods in your career, and how did you handle it?
Well, I think anytime there was wicked weather, that's always challenging. Changing stations, I went from WSEE to WJET when everyone, there weren't these, you couldn't have two stations in the same market. So each was its own separate entity. And WSEE was down on 12th and Peach, right next to the Arby's that is still there.
Yep.
And so that's where I used to work. And then you came up into the Snow Belt and worked at Jet, where I have been for years. And so, anytime you change, especially within the same market, is a big difference,
Am I allowed to ask why you switched out? Went from 35 to 24?
Well, it was actually personal reasons.
Okay.
But, back in the day, it was, I would like to say it was a bigger deal than it would have been today, but that's just because more people watch television and less were on their devices because we didn't have devices.
Right. Exactly. So as far as, did you ever have any major, different things that happened in your career that maybe challenged you? Is like, am I really doing the right thing?
I've always wanted to do what I'm doing, so as long as I was making the right decisions, or I don't even know if the word right was, but that's besides the weather, the major challenges, But I've been blessed. I mean, obviously, since a kid, I've wanted to do this, and I'm still doing this. So it's never boring because the weather's never boring here, and I find it fascinating to tell people every night about the weather because I find the weather so fascinating.
Just because we work together and we're friends, I don't want this to sound like I'm, playing favorites, but you are a forecaster that I turn to when things are getting bad because you maintain your calm, your cool, and you get it right. A lot of times, more so than not, because I know sometimes curveballs are thrown your way, but It's something that we could always count on with you. And how does that make you feel as far as, people, come to you when the going gets tough?
Well, yeah, I think our greatest, I don't know what you would call it, but what we ascribe to do is to protect lives and property, all right? That's kind of a mandate. It's kind of a mantra. And the way I do it is another mantra, is prepare, not scare. Because, like I said earlier, we don't want to scare people into watching us and cry wolf every time there's a snowstorm, or a severe weather event in the spring and summer. So to try to maintain that focus, you're protecting lives and property and you're just trying to give good information in a calm manner to help people, and hopefully accurate, because you're always going to be humbled by that lake. But when you do it for, year after year after year, people have been, like you're talking about, very loyal and come, when turning to us when the weather gets bad. And you don't want to blow it. You want to be there when it's bad, and you want to be accurate and calm. That's kind of the thing. So hopefully that, in the grace of God, have helped me, get the audience I have and have the loyalty I have. And I appreciate it, each and every viewer. Because sometimes, in this business, there's always going to be, not only when you screw up, but people are going to be ticked at when you screw up, or sometimes even you didn't. They're just mad at the weather, and you see that when you go out, when in the grocery stores or wherever. Everybody wants to talk about the weather. I mean, even if you're not a meteorologist, that's a common subject, especially in this area. Like if I'm going to Giant Eagle and I'm looking at a head of broccoli and somebody's next to me looking at a head of lettuce, and you kind of get in their space or they get in your space, many times the thing is, oh man, we're getting a lot of cold air this December. That's the way people break conversations. Well, when I walk through, oh my gosh, I'm like a moving target. They want to tell you what they feel. And sometimes they're not happy. Mm-hmm. And it's this weird kind of thing that has evolved over the years with TV especially. It's the only position on the desk or reporting where people actually have this idea that you might have some control over what you're telling you. Like they won't go over to the sports guy and say, hey, can you make the Steelers win the Super Bowl? But they will go up to the meteorologist and say, when are you going to turn off the rain?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And you think that some of this is, jovial and humorous, which it is, but I don't know how I got there, because I'm like, what are you kidding me? If I had control, it'd be snowing every day here. I love snow. That's why I live here,
Gotcha.
So that's the weirdness about the profession.
Is there anything, as far as, you may have touched on this, but I'm not sure if you have, but this is the last question we're going to talk about as far as jobs go for a second. But what accomplishments in your career are you most proud of, and why?
Well, they used to do the thing at another university here called Mercyhurst, where they actually, had a night where they had like an Oscars kind of awards night, for people in the media. And they actually handed out little trophies, which were nice. And people voted on best meteorologist, best this. And I won a few of those. And that was very gratifying. But the best thing is when you see the ratings and you got the audience, and the people send you an email or stop you and say, I love what you're doing. That's gratifying right there.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here. And according to my sheet of questions that we have here, the next thing we're going to talk about is relationships and family life. Is that okay with you?
That's okay. I'll give you as much as I feel comfortable with.
All right. Likewise. I'll let you know a bit about me also. But starting off with you, how did you meet your partner?
Here in Erie. I guess she watched me on TV. And, so somebody set us up, which was nice. I mean, she had an interest in weather, like some people do. Mm-hmm. So that was a common subject. And, I met her and we dated and we got married.
How long did you date?
Like about 7 months.
7? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. I guess when you know, you know.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, because I was in my 30s, it was like, okay, let's go. Let's get going here.
That's a good thing. I met my wife actually when I was going to school here. She was working down at McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
And I saw her down there, and then my buddy was working there also. We were all going to school up here. He found out who she was, and then I just gave her a
Now,
cold
which
call.
McDonald's is it still?
It's still there on Buffalo Road.
Oh, of course, the
Yeah.
Harbor Creek
Yep,
McDonald's.
Harbor
That's
Creek
good
McDonald's,
stuff.
Yeah. Yep, so I gave her a cold call, and I somehow coaxed her into going out on a date.
Great.
You know where we went? We went to
Yeah,
Panos.
what was your first date?
Panos.
East Side?
Yes.
All right.
We went to Panos because I wasn't too sure where we were going to go, and we ended up going to Panos.
Yeah, what a great little restaurant.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you hit it off at.
What about you, as far as your first date?
I don't know. I think it was it was a setup. It wasn't a date.
Okay.
Okay, I was over at the Best Western, which still stands, I believe, on Sterretania and 90 there.
Oh, we out. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a place, there's a bar there that they played music at.
Okay.
And that's where it happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any family traditions that I'm sure you do that you've started, and maybe around the holidays or whatever? And if you have, what kind of traditions do you have?
They probably started before I came along, but it's I think the one that stands out is Christmas Eve. Getting together with many people, but for the kids mainly.
Yeah.
Where they have the chance to open their gifts on Christmas Eve, and it's just like kids at Christmas, right? So that's a good thing.
Kids at Christmas. How many kids do you have?
I have 4 through my wife. Okay.
4 through your wife.
I mean, not from a previous marriage that she had. Okay?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Okay. Her first husband passed away, so there were 4
sorry to hear
children.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I inherited. That's how I put it. And then they had children, and there's grandchildren, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's my story of kids, which are all grown up.
Yeah. Did you guys have like a lot of things like as far as during like Christmas that you guys would do special? Like maybe everybody opens up one present the night before or something, or anything like that?
No, it's really not that. The big thing was the Christmas Eve get together with the family.
Okay.
Christmas is a quieter time for me.
Okay.
And that's good because as you know, when you're in this industry, you're constantly dealing with some stress and with the public and with people and stuff like that. So I want my holidays to be chill.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
want to not have to do something.
Oh, sure.
Celebrate the moment, whether it's Thanksgiving, because we're always looking ahead. Like, I know I have to teach this afternoon, and after that, I got to go to Jet and do my thing there. Well, how about a day when you don't have to, and you can appreciate each holiday? Now I work holidays too, sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But in the personal sense, I love Christmas. I love Thanksgiving. And I don't want to, have to run all around if I don't have to.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Now,
How about you?
as far as me, I've got two children. Jess just turned 26. My son will be 24 in
Wow.
next month.
All right.
But it seems I don't know where that time has gone. I mean, it's went so quickly. As far as they used to be just small little ones, in high school and all that good stuff. Now they're out doing their own thing. They've got their own jobs and they're working, and it's crazy, but it's good. As far as like traditions go for us, most of the time is we just get together with my grandma or with their grandma and grandpa who live next door.
Oh, wow.
We all either come to our house or go to their house, and then we open up presents there, and then that's basically what we do as far as that type of stuff.
Now I remember because I was doing a live shot, probably with you, at the Northeast Firemen's Carnival, and your wife and your kids were there.
Yeah.
And they were in school. They were like, I don't know if they were even teenagers at that point.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and they came up, and it was nice to meet your family. So
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's good stuff. I don't know if I ever told you this, Tom. Probably not. But I never wanted to have a family growing up.
Really?
Yeah. I spoke to my wife about that, before we got married and stuff, and she was cool with it. But then, like 5 years into the marriage, something just changed.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I spoke to my uncle, and I just had a couple of questions about kids, and he basically set my mind at ease, and then we decided let's have a couple of kids. So
Wow.
so
And it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really well. I
That's
was
great.
really happy with that. So, all right, let's.
What's next?
All right, we're at 36 minutes. Do you want to go one more topic and then we'll,
Yeah,
we'll call it?
let's do one more, and then
Okay, I'm going to give you the choice. Now, the three topics we have are life experiences and challenges. Next one is belief, values, and reflections. And then the last one there is looking forward and legacy. So for
What was
this,
the first one?
the first one was life experiences and challenges.
That's good. Let's do that.
All right, we're
Why
going
don't you start? Let me throw it around. I want to hear yours first.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll pose the question, ask the question, and then we'll go from there. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be crazy. Here we go. So it says, have you ever faced a major setback or failure, and what did you learn from it? Which one?
Yeah,
You know, which one?
that's life.
I guess that's actually a good. I don't want to steal your thunder, but you know, life is full of challenges all the time. You know, there's times sometimes when you're. I'm trying to think of a major setback or a failure. Okay, can you think of one offhand or not?
Losing a job.
Losing a job. Okay, let's. Oh, all right. I'm gonna take that one.
Go.
All right, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay,
no, that's fine.
I was working at Cathedral Prep, and I was there for 9 years. And all of a sudden, one day, I was called in saying they're getting rid of the program.
Ugh.
It was crazy. I mean, we were winning contests, video contests. We entered. I remember one local one, especially. We took it was amongst other schools here in the area. We took first, second, and third, and honorable mention. We took all of them because of our kids and what they were doing, the stuff they produced. Again, I'm not going to take any all the credit or any kind of credit for that, but the students really got into it. They produced some good stuff, and we won. And then there's another one that we went down to. It was a statewide competition. I think it was cyberbullying, and we were in the running for there's three, they called 3 schools down to Harrisburg to put final edits on it. They used it as far as in their campaign. We were down there and we won. We won for the state competition. We won that. So things were going great.
Yeah.
And then I get a call in and they said, oh, we're discontinuing this.
The program.
Yeah. And that was something like, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, total blindside.
Right.
But through the graces of God, that night when I got home on my answering machine, when we had answering machines,
Right.
There was a message saying, hey, this is so-and-so from Penn State Behrend. We'd like to know if you're interested in a job. Like to come in for a interview.
That night.
That night. It was
there are no coincidences.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that one. So I actually, it was kind of cool because I left prep already knowing I had a job.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was, and I remember the ROTC guy. He gave me a compliment. He said, "Tom, the way that you handled this whole thing, I've never seen someone with so much class.
That's
you didn't
great.
Badmouth people and this and that, whatever.
Yeah. Didn't burn any bridges.
No.
Felt like it, but you didn't.
Exactly. I mean, there were times. I'm sure that time from when I found out I was losing my job until I got home. I'm sure I was a little bit ticked off about stuff.
I'm sure you were.
But I remember when I left there, I went around and I was giving, I don't know how this happened, and I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I had candy bars. Russell Stover made a bunch of candy bars, and they had Penn State wrappers on them.
Wow.
So I went around and I handed out a bunch of candy bars.
Yeah.
To the
I got to
people
go
there.
now. Here, have a candy bar.
Absolutely, and it was kind of cool. But I guess that was something. And as far as what I learned is, like you said, you never burn bridges, because I've gone back to prep a number of times, and I've done some guest teaching there, and they've offered me some stuff to do there. So I still have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Yeah, losing a job. I think also when your parents pass away is a jar. I mean, especially if you've had a good relationship, and I did. And I was blessed because my mom was a lady ahead of her time, and she had me when she was almost 42.
Wow.
So she had a career first and then a family, but she lived to be 97. Wow. Well, you talk about a blessing.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it's, you know that people aren't going to live forever.
Right.
So you're somewhat prepared. But then you look back since then and you say, oh, I wish she was here. I wish I could tell her this. Or my father, who lived to be 91. I wish I could get his opinion. I know he would tell me some very wise stuff if I ask him this question I have now.
Sure.
So that kind of thing. I'm blessed in that they lived so long, but because it was good, I miss being able to talk because they had so much experience. I mean, think about it. What was the Tom Brokaw book, The Greatest Generation? They were the greatest generation.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm not saying that because they're my parents. I'm saying that because of the period that they grew up in. If you grew up in, the Depression and then World War II, when you don't have what you have around here, and sometimes you have very little. Like my mom's family, they didn't have a car. They rode the streetcar. They were in Baltimore, all right? They didn't get a car until later, all right? My father was, born in a mining town in Western Virginia. They had nothing, and to see how tough and resilient they were. I mean, because it wasn't just living through the Depression. It was like battling diseases, that were tougher back then because you didn't have the vaccines or whatever.
Absolutely.
And they were the greatest generation because they succeeded and they taught us that, it's not about you, okay? You're not going to get everything you want. You have to work. You have to show up. You have to be responsible. You have to say please and thank you. Things like that. That's why I feel they were the greatest generation because of not only how they survived, but what they passed on, life lessons, really values that you could take with you and help you, whatever, in whatever you're doing.
You said you wish you could still talk to them. Is there, I don't know what your belief is for if you believe in higher power or not.
Absolutely,
but do you ever, talk to them?
I mean, I don't believe you could talk to them, in a supernatural sense. I don't believe that, and I would never even try to because I think that's a scary side of spiritualism that I don't want to be anywhere near. But yeah, sometimes, I'll just say, yeah, Dad, I wish you were here,
Yeah.
or stuff like that. Or Mom, what was it like in I want to hear the story again. You were a teacher. It was your first year of teaching, 1941. You had the cold or a flu and you were doing paperwork, kind of lying on your couch for your class, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt came in over the radio and said the Japanese have just attacked Pearl Harbor. What was that like?
Yeah. I totally get that. I mean, you can't, couldn't even imagine.
Right.
Well, it'd be kind of, I guess,
9/11, for
that's
us.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, and I'm popping around here a bit, but where were you on 9/11?
I was here, and I was supposed to go to New York City, oddly enough, because my dad lived there. Mm-hmm. And I had a cold, and my wife had a cold, and we didn't go.
Really?
We were going to go there that.
Wow.
So, again, no coincidences,
Well, touching back on that before, I was working in television in Cleveland. I was actually it happened during the morning, and I was actually doing a side job at the time, helping build a house. Mm-hmm. And I got a page saying all hands on deck, get in now. So I went in, and they had me at the airport at that time because of one of those things went over Cleveland and flew around. And I don't know if it's the one that went to Pittsburgh and crashed in Shanksville.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I spent the whole day at the airport doing live shots after live shot after live shot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But going back to as far as I mentioned, kind of a higher power. I understand as far as not talking to them, but have you ever had an experience where you thought maybe something like came into your life and steered you one way or another, or gave you an answer to something that maybe you were hoping to get an answer to?
Yeah, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
No.
But there's been times when, you just knew what what to do, what the right thing, what the thing is.
I had an experience when I was at Cathedral Prep. I got there. I was teaching. It was probably October, and I started there in September. October, I'm thinking, did I make the right decision? Mm-hmm. Coming back here with the family, everything, and getting a different job so I could see my kids. And I thought, because I work nights and stuff, that's why I
Right,
work my kids.
we know all about that.
Yeah, but I was going home, and I called Channel 5, and I said, hey, I think I made a mistake. I want to come back. Well, can I? And they said yes. So that Friday, I went to Father Jabo, and I said, hey, listen, this isn't going to work out. I think I'm going to go back to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And he said, take the weekend to think about it. Mm-hmm. And
good advice.
Let me know on Monday. I said, okay. I was set. I'm going back, I'm driving home down Route 8, right across from was it the boardwalk, or there's some kind of
the boardwalk,
yeah. Yeah. And all of a sudden I got this feeling that came across me. I still remember it. And it's like, no, you're not to go back. You're to stay here.
Oh, wow.
So I said, you've got to be kidding me. So I said, okay. So I actually listened to whatever that was.
Right.
And I've stayed here, and I never went back. I called Channel 5 and said, hey, guys,
I've
thanks,
changed
but
my
no
mind.
thanks. Yeah, I got to stay here. And it was the best decision ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. I've seen stuff like that. And some decisions are gut-wrenching, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's tough too.
Exactly. So, all right, let's go with, let's see, one last question and then we'll wrap this up. We're going on almost 50 minutes, Tom. You believe that?
I think that's a good idea.
It's good times, though. But
absolutely.
I'll tell you what, do you think we're going to have one of these next week?
I'm up for it.
All right,
you just tell me. I'll show up.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. So I guess what we'll do is, why don't we just, for the time being, for now, is let's just end this one if we can.
Right.
Bring the music in, and then what we'll do is we'll come back again next week. Just so people know, I'm going to put all these things on a website on YouTube called Wintergreen Media.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to start storing these things. So if people want to listen, they can go to Wintergreen Media on YouTube and find us there. It's going to be the T Squared,
right?
Tom Squared program,
right,
where Tom's talk all things they want to talk about. But for now, I guess I'm going to sign off. I'm Tom Deau, and you are?
Tom Atkins.
You can catch us here again next week, right here on BBZ Radio. Thank you very much.
Take care.